I am Jen Clinehens, the founder and managing director of Choice Hacking, and this is another customer experience breakdown where I'm going to take a look at a brand, in this case, a brand called Fully Bloomed, who sells journals, and we're going to see what's working about their experience, what's not, and the psychology behind why. Now you can see I've done a little bit of salience analysis here, so we are going to talk about some salience analysis, and I'm also going to talk about, I guess you could call them a competitor of Fully Bloomed, but they're a journal brand called Passion Planner who do a lot of really good things. And in fact, I use them as an example in a couple of my courses about how to use things like social proof, how to build an emotional connection with customers. So they're a really good brand to take a look at and use as a bit of inspiration. I am not associated with Fully Bloomed. I am taking a look at their website just because I thought it was interesting and I felt like there were a couple things they could tweak that would significantly increase their conversion rate and their sales. Fully Bloomed has the problem that a lot of smaller brands have, which is there's no marketing person. The person who's founded this is probably stretched really thin. They're trying to do the business of the business as well as marketing. One last thing, these customer experience audits are something that I do offer. So I have two ways that you can take advantage of this. One, if you have a brand that you want me to look at in a public forum, in a YouTube channel video like this one, then just leave a comment below and I'll take a look at the website or email or mobile app, but I'm going to do it in a public forum. The second way I can be engaged is with a customer experience audit. I will leave a link in the description below, but basically I do something like this. It's a lot more in-depth. It's a 45-minute video, but you'll also get a mural board and you'll also get some salience analysis. So with that being said, let's kick it off. I'm just going to zoom in here really quickly and take a look at the Fully Bloomed homepage. So in general, there's a couple of things that are actually working really well. I'll start with just the obvious bit that maybe isn't working so well, and that would be this monochromatic design. Now, the reason I say it's not working well is because if I zoom up here to our salience analysis, and again, remember that red is good, so that's what people are noticing and paying attention to, whereas colors like yellow or green or blue are things that are going to be missed by most people, right? Because we tend to scan through things and we only have a certain amount of attention and it can be spread too thin or directed in the wrong places. But you can see the logo works really hard. We've got 199, some really good scores there, but everything else is just gone. Now, with salience, there's a few sort of elements that you can dial up or dial down to make something more or less salient, visually salient. Contrast is a big one of those. So if you think about something like a stop sign, right? In the US, we'll use the US stop sign example because everybody knows that one. It's pretty universal. It's red. So it stands out from the surroundings because you don't see a lot of red things, right? Even if you're in a city or in a forest or a country lane or something, red is an unusual color. So that's got the contrast from the background. And then it has white, big, thick white text that says stop. White and red are high contrast, so it's something that you notice right away. So contrast, size is another one. So if something is bigger, we naturally pay more attention to it. So if, for example, we thought, oh, well, it's nice that this logo is getting so much attention, but maybe we want to give it less attention so that some other attention can go in some other direction on this homepage. In that case, we could think about just making the logo smaller. That's really easy. Another one could be luminosity. So if you think about like YouTube thumbnails, when they'll have like a background and then they'll have a person like making a YouTube face. And then they'll have a glow around the outside of their body or even like a white sort of outline around them. That could be an example of luminosity. So it makes it stand out from the background because it's got that little bit of a glow that separates it from what's behind it. So a crash course on salience. But as you can see, this whole, I'll scroll down so you can see it one more time. It's this lovely like sage green color. I love this color. I have no problem with the sage green. What I do have a problem with, however, is how low contrast green on green is. So it is a darker green and sage green, but it's just, as you can see from this, it's not doing enough of a job. It's not high contrast enough. And the gray and the sage, I mean, like I said, they look nice, like on the face, right? The color of the brand is good, but it's not doing a job. It's not doing a customer experience job, right? And part of the job that the homepage needs to do is direct our attention to critical areas and give us a feel for how many products are there? What do you sell? And we need to glean a lot of information from this initial page. I mean, obviously not every customer journey is going to start here, but let's just say in this world, I start on the homepage. It's not really clear to me like what they sell or how the products are. I mean, we've got journals, eco-accessories, and spirituality. Okay. But again, they're not really easy to notice. So you're likely to just gloss over these 3 selections here. So I'll go again through what's working. So logo is very, very salient, good. The purpose is clear and clearly tied to the name of the brand. So what I mean by the purpose is this: providing everything you need to bloom to your fullest potential, fully bloomed. It's nice, works together, right? Very good. And there's lots on offer. So if you click through a few different things, they'll kind of tell you they've got some events, they've got products. However, they're treated all the same on the site. And I can see why they might do that. Personally, I would test, and I've seen from my experience, and I would prefer to see this more product focused with events taking a secondary ranking. Right now, it definitely seems like products and events are one-to-one. And in some ways, it seems like events are more important than products. But that's just sort of my impression my first impression from seeing the site. So I would really need to like talk to the brand owner, the business owner, to find out, okay, is it actually true? Or do you want to be more of an event company or more of a product company? So I'm making some assumptions here just because, like I said, this is not a client of mine. I don't know them. I'm just doing a customer experience breakdown on their site because I thought it was an interesting site, and why not? So what I changed in summary, so need to lead with a product image. Okay, so they sell products, but I don't see any products here. And part of the reason I say lead with a product image, I have seen this. So I've done a couple of customer experience audits this week, but a lot of people talking with text and not with images, which there's a behavioral science principle called the picture superiority effect, which basically says that we understand, we remember, and we glean more meaning from a picture than we do from text. And we also know, I mean, like, people don't read. They scan through things. They look here, they look there. So those images are really good at capturing our attention and they conveying a lot of information. For example, like, what is your primary product? So I would love to see that just to get it a little bit more grounded in terms of me being a new customer and going like, oh, Fully Bloom sounds interesting. What do they sell? I need to be able to answer that question really quickly. And pictures are a very good way to do that. So images, photos. And then consider, easier to find product navigation. The reason I say that, so this is the product navigation here. Home, shop, events, services, FAQs, and contact. But then look, we are missed completely. It's blue, which for us in attention is the worst color. So what we need here is make these bigger and more obvious. I would even maybe make this just like a white skinny banner up there on top. And again, like we said, consider less monochromatic design that allows for some elements to grab attention. This is, again, like not high contrast enough for me. And this goes back to having to balance what is the brand identity versus what's going to work in a digital environment or what's going to work in a store. We have to balance those two things. So less monochromatic. And let's take a look at what Passion Planner does here. So Passion Planner, if you haven't visited it, it's a good site. The company itself actually started on Kickstarter, like way back in the day. If I remember correctly, it was one of the most successful Kickstarters. That's right. Don't fact check me in the comments, please. And this is all of the things. So it rotates their homepage here. So the top banner, the hero image, I should say. So this stays consistent. So the menu, the logo, all of this. And then this, you can see, is the image that changes. And the first one that came up was National Simplicity Day sale. So 40% off select journals. So a lot of like urgency information. So things I would need to know right now. So go, it's on sale, but it's only on sale for a little bit. So I need to check it out. Now, interestingly, Passion Planner also has events, which is not something I knew about. But in particular, they've got this Passion Planner 10-year anniversary, which is an in-person event. And this was the second thing to come up. You can RSVP. I don't know where it is or if it's necessarily applicable to every single person that visits the site. Like it could be, it says in person, so it must not be virtual, but I thought that was interesting. And then we've got take charge of your day. Some new, interesting information because it's new, it's novel. 23, 24 academic planners. Again, those are time sensitive, so it makes sense that they would be in this hero image spot. Let me zoom in. And then we've got Live More Intentionally with some 2023 annual passion planners, which is more of a general sort of, hey, look at the different types of products that we have, the different designs that we have, because that is a big part of what makes Passion Planner appealing to people, is this interesting design that they have, both outside and inside. But obviously with a lot of things, the cover tells you a lot about what's inside the book. So people are looking and browsing by cover here. Now, a few things to point out. I'm just going to zoom in a little bit closer. In terms of contrast, so you can see we've got a much lighter gray than we saw in Fully Bloomed. We've got a dark blue, we've got a dark black with white text, bold text. I mean, obviously they've got like a ticker, timed, or a clock, I guess. My brain isn't working, but you know what I mean? A countdown, thank you. Must be late in the day. With something that is an urgency message. This is a nice added value message because we're talking about free shipping. And again, you can see these are very different colors as well. So these are things that are capturing my attention because they're very different from one another. Then we've got the normal menu. We've got, I mean, a very high contrast logo. It's black and white, but it's pretty high contrast. And it's not giant because you're a Passion Planner, so why do you need to see a giant logo? So that's a good best practice. And they've got some white and some, I guess what would we call this, cream, with their vision, which is very important to Passion Planner as a brand. Their vision, sorry if you can't read it, building a world where everyone has access to the tools and community they need to live an authentic and fulfilling life. And then they've got this little get 20% off. This was something actually that popped up as a bigger, hey, give us your email and you'll get 20% off. And then when I said no thanks, it didn't disappear completely. It just went down to this corner. And you can see it's on all the different ones here. So it appears basically on every single page because they know it's really important to get those email addresses. And I thought that was really nice, actually. I have to figure out how to do it from a technical perspective, but it's something that I might use at some point on choicehacking.com. Obviously not the 20% off, but I'm going to have to figure out how to do that. And that's the technical stuff. And that's the stuff that I'm not great at, but we're going to explore it and see if we can get it to work. Now, I want to talk quickly about the navigation of Fully Bloomed. Miro sometimes, when there's a lot of images, takes a second. So we're going to have to be patient with Miro today. So we've got this, and when I hover over shop, I see journals, eco-accessories, spirituality, and books. So what's working for me? It is clean and straightforward product navigation. It's hard to notice and see, but that's something we could fix pretty easily. And then what I would change. So the one thing that sticks out here to me, journals, I know what that is. Eco-accessories, I get the picture of what that is. Books, all right. And then spirituality, I'm not so sure. It doesn't really fit as a product category to me because the other ones are physical products. So it's almost like apples to oranges, comparing apples to oranges. And when I clicked into spirituality, the product was actually affirmation cards. So if it were me, I would actually switch that to affirmation cards. It's a little bit more concrete language, right? Like spirituality could be anything. I mean, you could be hiring someone to, I don't know, do tarot readings for you. It's hard to tell. So if it were me, I would change it to affirmation cards just because it's a little easier to understand. And when I come down to Passion Planner, you can see they obviously have many, many more products. So it's slightly more complicated, but this is how they handle things. This is the shop all section. So they've divided it into paper planners and journals, digital products, accessories, and then gift cards all out on its lonesome over there. So pretty straightforward and pretty fairly and logically organized. So let me go back up here too. Once we click through and we visit the journals page, and I picked journals just because it's the easiest to compare between these two companies. A couple of things that are working for me, a couple of things I would change. So what's working? It's pretty straightforward product listing. There's not too many products, so showing them this way is totally fine, totally works. And in fact, what I like about it is they all are on a similar background. And when you keep them basically the same, right? They're not like pictures of people using different journals. It's the cover of all these journals with the same background. They're much easier to compare. It makes it easier for me to say like, oh, red's my favorite color, so I'm going to pick red. Whereas I've seen some e-commerce brands do this thing where they'll have something like this where it's like a category page, but they're not just showing you the product like as cleanly as possible. They're trying to like demonstrate the product or whatever. The Zara website has this problem, okay? Or Zara, if you want to like say it the right way. But Zara has this problem because they want to be, in my opinion, I can go on a whole tangent. I will definitely do a breakdown of Zara, but they try to be almost too editorial on the website. And for a long time, I thought it was like my brain. I was like, oh, I'm a millennial. I just don't get it. It's like designed for younger people. And no, I've seen so many people who are way younger than me complain about the Zara website that I was like, finally, what? This is just not working, and that's why. Don't be editorial on category pages. Like, people just want to see what the product is, and they want to be able to compare it against other things. So what I'd change, actually not much. Potentially I might add in an anchor price when and if things go on sale. And the example I will show you is from Passion Planner. Woo! Passion Planner. Mero's temperamental today, I'm telling you. So it was 24 quid. I've looked at the UK site here. And now it's 15 quid. So we got a little line through that. So we can see that it's on sale, but you can also see like what it used to be. So a little bit of the anchoring effect. Oh, it's a really good deal at 15 quid when 24 quid might have been a little bit expensive, depending on how you feel about journals. The journals I'm finding are actually a very expensive product, especially if you want something like Passion Planner that's very custom. And obviously there's benefits to getting a planner like the one that they've designed. But you can see actually they've got a very similar way of comparing things across. You've got this nice little, I mean, we could call it like a little icon almost. It's not visual, but maybe a little icon of sale. So if, for example, we had 2 products on sale and 2 products not on sale, it would be really, really clear just from glancing at this, what's on sale and what's not. And I would probably go visit like what's on sale. So a good example of a category page. And now, it's gonna get a little bit more complicated because we are to arguably the most important page on any e-commerce site, if I can get it to zoom, which is the product page. Okay. I would also say the category page is very important as well. However, this is very, very important because this is where a lot of people are sort of dialing into that moment in the journey where they're like, okay, I've compared against everything and I'm really interested in this product. So are you as a brand helping them get over the hurdles of, oh, I'm a little uncertain about this brand. I've never heard of them. Do other people like this product? What's in the product? I need to know all the details. These are all sort of uncertainties that people have, especially when they're new to your brand or they haven't heard of it before, or they've stumbled on it because they saw like a product in Google image search and they thought that's really cool. But then you've got to get them on board with a trust factor. And then also, depending on your business, authority can play a big role here, just depending on what your business is and if authority is something that plays into getting people comfortable with your brand. So we've got the Be Fearless and Flourish journal. Very nice. We've got the image here and then some associated product images. So far, so good. We've got a price. We have a small description. We can expand to read more, which is nice because I don't want to take up this whole section with text. But if I'm interested and I want to read more, I can do that. Now we've got some details down this way. I mean, that's one of the first things I would probably change is get the details over here or get more information so it doesn't look like it's orphaned over on this side. So details, vegan leather, classic A5 size. Now that's something, okay, classic A5, 5.5 by 8 inches. Yeah, so maybe some people are really good with like spatial awareness. For me, I'm going to need something for scale. So if this was like an item of clothing or a piece of jewelry, I would want the person to be wearing it. I mean, there's a lot of different ways you can show scale. Some companies will use like a quarter. If you're on Reddit, they'll use a banana for scale. But something that I understand the size of that you can put it next to that I go, oh, okay, I sort of understand what that looks like. So some assistance with scale would be nice. And they have done a little bit of that. You can see with the product images. But the problem, this is actually not too bad with the oranges. So I can look at 2 oranges and say, oh, it's like, or sorry, clementines, not oranges. I would be expecting a much bigger planner if I thought they were oranges. So what? It's like 3 clementines or easy peelers. Hi. Okay, yeah, I get that. But it would be nice if they pulled it out specifically. So a couple things here. What's working? The beginnings of some good product photography here. So I would say these 2 where you can see things being used. We've got some explanation. Okay, there's a back pocket for storage. It's a good start. You can see we've got the lines here. So it's the beginnings of some good product photography. A few good ways to use. Like, oh, you could take it to the beach. You could take it to do some photography. There's a lot of different things you can do. What I would change, more product detail and product usage shots. So again, it's about de-risking and imagining how you might use this in the future. One element in particular that I like is something called haptic imagery. So this is a behavioral science principle. Basically, it says when we see someone touching, feeling, using a product. So it could be a phone or a journal or whatever it might be, like driving a car, interacting with a product somehow. We sort of put ourselves in the shoes of that person and we say, oh, okay, yeah, I can see myself owning that. And we start to create a little bit of a bond. It makes us more likely to buy it. It makes us a little bit more likely to spend some more money on it because we see someone else touching it. We, again, like imagine ourselves touching and feeling. And that goes back to something called the endowment effect, which basically says when we own something or we have the intent to own something, we start to create these emotional bonds that we don't want to break. The example I like to use is with IKEA. So I go into IKEA, it's huge. It takes me like 5 hours to walk through IKEA, however long it takes, because it's a fixed path and you have to go a certain way. And I put something in my cart, like a lamp, something that is, obviously you don't put the furniture in the box, but you can put like a little accessories, a rug, whatever it might be. And you think, I'm just going to put this in the cart just to think about it. Okay, then you walk through the rest of IKEA. What are the chances when you get close to the tills, to the cash register, that you're going to look at that item and say, I'm going to put that back? Most of the time you don't. Like sometimes you do. Maybe you have stronger willpower. Not everybody does everything 100% with behavioral science, obviously. But you're more likely to say, forget it, let's just buy it. Because you imagine what it would look like in your house. Ooh, that rug is really going to pull the room together, that kind of stuff. So endowment effect, haptic imagery, very related. And then we have addition of social proof, star reviews, more inspiration on how to use a journal and creating a deeper emotional connection. That's the second thing I would change. So if you'll notice, there's no quotes, there's no like help. The only thing I have here is live chat, which is good. That's really good. But there's no help in saying or answering this question, do other people like this? How many other people like this? And obviously there's a lot of ways you can use social proof. One of those is something like star reviews. There's 100 reviews in this product or 10 or 15 or whatever it might be. Or you can, if you don't have that, you could say, oh, we've sold 100 of these, or like 100% no return rate. I mean, there's a lot of different ways you can talk about many others and similar others, which are the two different kinds of social proof, and how you could use those in a product page like this one. Now, these are the 4 images. This is the product page. Let's take a look at how Passion Planner does it. I'm just going to zoom out because you'll see immediately the difference between a little page with a little bit of evidence and a big page with like all the evidence. Again, I don't really think this is Fully Bloom's problem necessarily because, I mean, it's something they want to start building, but I'm assuming by looking at their website, they're a much smaller brand than Passion Planner, probably fewer people working, probably fewer sales just because of the size of the brand. And so they have less evidence, less resources, and that just is what it is. So this is what I would be building towards, this Passion Planner example, and not necessarily saying this is something they have to do right now. So I'm just going to zoom in here and give you an idea. So you can see immediately we've got some social proof, 271 reviews. We've got different colors with some nice, really like evocative language, luminous rose gold. It's very nice. I want something that's luminous rose gold. And you can see we've got like the very basic image, get notified when this product is back in stock because it is out of stock. Another form of social proof to say it is so in demand that we don't have any at all. I'll just caveat that by saying don't say something is sold out if it's not sold out because that's scammy. Don't do that. Sleazy. That's what I was going to say. But yeah, don't do that. And then you've got some selections here. So you've got, what does that say? Blank, dot grid, graph lined. And then small, medium, or large. Interestingly, they have a rewards program, which I did not know about. And you can actually share the product, which I wonder how much of that is actually being used. I might be completely wrong. Like there might be a ton of people using it or enough people that they want to kind of keep that there. I don't have any information, so I can't tell you. And then they've got a couple of more points of information up here. It's on sale. Got a little anchoring effect here. Oh, it was 24, but now it's 15. That's a really good deal in comparison to 24 quid. Or you can do even better deal, 4 interest-free payments of $3.75. I'm not sure why that hasn't translated into pounds, but there you go. With Afterpay, so you've got some buy now, pay later, BNPL. I always have to remember like what is the abbreviation for that? Buy now, pay later. So we've got some examples and things. Now, when you start to scroll down, just look at the sheer amount of information that they provide here. They de-risk this product so hard. Like there is no risk left when they're done. I mean, even here you can see at the bottom with the gallery, these are the blown out images that I have copied and pasted in here just to take a look at. So you get even closer. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to start. So they're showing you every little detail of the exterior. Okay, these are the different sizes. This is not perfect because I would love something for scale, just to make it a little bit easier to kind of understand what small, medium, large means. And I know they have the measurements, but like who's going to sit there and measure? Like you get an approximate idea, but it's easier to use something for scale, really. All right, so we've got available in graph, dot lined, or dot grid and lined. From bullet journaling to drawing to jotting down notes in class. So they've given you some options here and they've zoomed in. What does it look like? This is brilliant. Ink bleed test. All these different kinds of markers and pens. And then does anything bleed? The answer is no. And this is what they look like when they're actually on the page. I'm telling you, they are de-risking hard. A little bit of a bigger view of the back rather than just focusing on what the words were. And then look at this. We even get into like logo symbology. Until it's the end of a long day. I can't talk. So we've got rose gold. Yes, that is the color. Inner circle represents the individual as a unique and ever-changing dynamic being, whole on their own. I love it. Outer circle represents the collective being of society in which we all exist, affect, and belong to. I mean, this is deep. Like this could be like a superhero, like emblem on a shirt. Yin-yang symbol fills the being that represents the duality in everything. We live in a contrasted, nuanced existence of neither good nor bad. We cannot have one without the other. And then a downward triangle, a symbol of feminine energy. We hope to find more harmony with both the masculine and feminine by creating products that incorporate more ways of being intuitive, nurturing, collaborative, and receptive. Deep. I want this as a tattoo. Now, it looks cool and it has like a lot of symbology. There we go. I got it that time. Some symbology to it. All right, so what does it look like on the inside? We've got a table of contents. Cool. We've got this beautiful rose gold pocket. Very nice. And then we come down here, and this, again, brilliant because it's showing us how we might use these different types of interior passion planner. This is the dots. So you got some dots, and we can do some things. And we've got, this is bullet journaling. I'm not a bullet journaling expert, and it looks like the little things. I don't use it, but I assume that's what it is. Your pixels, you've got some nice little tape here. You can see we've used different types of pens. We've got some highlighters so you can see how things look in the actual planner. Whoops. No, I want to go this way. We've got lined now with these certain kinds of pens. This is what it looks like. We've got red, black, not as many stickers and things. And then here, it's all stickers. It's scrapbooking, really. In the grids. You can see people are using the grid to draw. I'm not an artist, so I assume that's what the grid is for. We've got some, did you drink your water? Nature. We've got some quotes. We have some pictures, tape. Some Elmer's glue was being used here. We have recipes. So more of a scrapbook approach. And again, I mean, this is a form of that haptic imagery because people have used the product and we can see ourselves like, oh yeah, I've always wanted to scrapbook. This could be a great way for me to get started, get this big, beautiful passion planner. And all of a sudden I feel like now I can scrapbook because I have a beautiful thing to scrapbook in. So really, really brilliant. I mean, literally look, like they have de-risked this to death. And that's a good thing. We'll just kind of scroll down here quickly. So lovely bit of emotional and personal inspiration with this YouTube video. Different ways to use your passion journal. They actually have a pretty good YouTube presence. It's a really good one if you are an e-commerce brand and you're interested in how you might use YouTube to explore different ways, not just to say like, hey, here's my product, but how do you use the product? What's the lifestyle around the product? What's the team behind the product? They do a really good job of that. Very clear about what's in the product. I did not snip every single one of these, but this is how it displays. We've got the dot grid journal. We've got 120 GSM paper, extended and expanded space of infinite possibility. I like that. Number of pages, 210 pages total. And then we have some more social proof because these images, I believe, oh, I take that back. I apologize for that. I thought that these were user-generated images. I don't think they are. Taking a second look at them. They might be. Regardless, it does give you a little bit of social proof because it's like, oh, here's how I could use some things. Here's how other people might have used them. But here's where the social proof really begins. So we've got big, clear star ratings. To me, the stars could be a lot bigger because that's really what people are paying attention to. They'll gloss over 4.9. But if you could show like the 5 stars, that's really powerful. Make those a little bit bigger, in my opinion. More image-driven social proof. So here we do have user-generated content. Searchable. Thank you. searchable, filterable reviews. You can sort on keywords that address common customer questions. You can even see they've got a questions section, so where questions have been asked and then answered. And I'm sorry, I was going to scoot in here. I have some keywords, very nice. You can just say like, oh, wait, paper, and it'll sort of sort those automatically. But then they have a ton of these reviews, 271. And they have called out if people are verified buyers. It's arranged by most recent. You can see this is July 30th, 22. So actually not that recent. I don't know why it's not that recent. Maybe it is not done by most recent, though. It does look like it's 1 here. And then we do have some things like, was this review helpful? It's the Amazon style review bit. And then obviously we've got a footer. I'm going to roll back in here. Sorry, just backtrack really quickly. Description and details, just to show you, they've got a few more things you can go in. It's like a tabbed navigation. So the beautiful thing about something like this is when it's a tab navigation, you're getting a lot of information in one place without having it displaying in front of you at all times, blasting you with too much information. I mean, we know cognitive overload, like it's a lot of information. We just say no and we move on rather than trying to dig through things. So tab navigation in an experience like this could be a really good addition to help you handle that amount of information. So that is a look at Fully Bloomed and at Passion Planner. So sort of a dual breakdown in this one. I'm going to have to think about how I title it because the dual breakdown, I don't know how that's going to work. But if you're interested in having me do something like this, like I said, there's a link in the description below for a customer experience audit. If you're happy for me to take a look at your brand in a public setting like this one, leave a comment and I'll take a look at your site or your email or whatever app you wouldn't want me to look at. If you're not ready for a customer experience audit or you're not ready for me to audit your customer experience, you can join my free newsletter. There's 8,000 people from companies like Google, Coke, and Disney, where we learn all about behavioral science, psychology, and using predictive AI to improve things like websites, email marketing, all sorts of digital and retail marketing above the line, so television commercials, any marketing you could think of. There's a link in the description below, and I'll see you in the next one.